name is Lorena, and this is baby Penelope. Say hi, mamas. Say hi. She's 2 months old. Say hi. So I'm a mom of two. I have an older daughter who's 2 years, 3 months almost. Her name is Juliette. She's with grandma right now. And so today I get to have one-on-one time with Penelope. Say hi, mamas. Today I wanted to share with you Penelope's developmental progress, what are some of the milestones she's hit, what we do to encourage her to meet those milestones, and some of the tips and tricks that I've learned from doing this the first time around with Juliette. And yeah, it's gonna be so much fun, right? Yes, you and me. So I have Penelope here with me. She fell asleep. She was ready for a nap. My poor baby. But yeah, so Penelope at birth was 7 pounds 4 ounces, which is smaller than my first. Juliette was 8 pounds at birth. She was actually taller. She was 22 inches long, which I think is kind of long for a baby, but daddy is long. Oh, daddy is long. Daddy is tall. So we'll see if she's the tall one of the family like daddy. She was born with a full set of hair, just like her sister Juliette, as you guys can see. And I think they look alike, but some others think that she looks more like me, and others think she looks more like dad. So we'll see how it turns out once they get a little bit older. But she's been doing great. She starts to make sounds now. She goes eh and starts to say goo, and just is experimenting with making different sounds. And that's something you want to encourage your baby whenever they say something, whenever they start to make those sounds, repeat them back so they feel like, oh, I want to repeat the sound again. Also from day one, we speak to her just as if she was an adult. We try to talk to them in different languages. Actually, I speak to her and Juliette in English, and my husband speaks to them in French. Also, when I go back to work, my mom is going to help me take care of both of them, and she's going to be speaking to them in Spanish. She currently only speaks to Juliette in Spanish, and Juliette has been doing really great with the 3 different languages. And basically, if you do want to do something like this, you want to assign one language to that adult. That adult only speaks that language to the child, so they're better able to grasp that one language and associate that language to that one person. And as they get older, then they're able to switch back and forth. And I would really highly recommend it if English wasn't your first language, to maybe talk to them in your first language, so that they don't lose one, the language, your culture, and two, so that they have that as a tool to have another language. For me, it was especially important because my mom doesn't speak English, and so I wanted them to have that bonding with my mom, and I wanted them to speak Spanish. At the beginning, I thought I would speak to them in Spanish, but as she's the one helping me out, taking care of Juliette, so then we decided to do the 3 at the same time, and it's been working out really great. Juliette does really great, and so we hope to do the same with her. Same with French. My husband's family is all in Switzerland, and so we try to go back once a year, and they all speak French, and my husband has to translate for me all the time. I actually understand it pretty well, but I can't speak it at all. It's difficult. It's difficult to have that bonding with my in-laws. It's difficult to be the one at the dining table and just listening to the conversations. And so I don't want them to feel left out, and it's really important for me that they learned French and that they're able to bond with their grandparents and their cousins, and they're close in age. So it's really important, and I think it'd be really fun once they're like 6 and 7 for us to go back and have those summers with the girls, and they'll be able all to communicate and have that bonding time. So that's what we're doing at home. We're speaking to them in 3 different languages, and I would say do the same if you can, or if you only speak English, make sure that you're speaking to them since day one, describing their surroundings, playing with the toys and describing the toys, and then that's how they pick up language a lot faster. So she's been doing really good. She's, like I said, making those sounds now, and then we're encouraging her to make the sounds by repeating those sounds back to her. And that's one form of communication that she's starting with. And another one is her facial expressions. She now frowns at you and she smiles at you. She basically, if you smile at her and talk in a high-pitched voice, she'll just smile and get really excited. Or sometimes when she doesn't really know what you're doing or what you're saying, she'll just frown at you, which is really cute. And so she does that. She also has great eye contact now. At the beginning, she was more a sleeper. So Juliette, when she was born, she had her eyes wide open and had eye contact with us since day one, since minute one. And she was pretty much more of a sleeper and had her eyes closed for her first days. But afterwards, when she started opening her eyes, we can tell that she didn't have that focus. She was just looking around, and of course they can't really see from that far anyway. So we've definitely noticed more the progress with her, and we've also helped her by having those conversations with her, like face to face, and making that eye contact with her. And when we play with her, we also have like an object that she can follow around, and so we can help her eye coordination, and she's been doing great. She follows the object now. I also put her down on the mat every morning, and she can look at the object and try to reach for it and bat at it. So with her hands, she's been doing really great at batting the object, trying to reach for the object, and also putting her hand in her mouth. So she sucks her hand, and that's really important to allow them to suck their mouth. One, because they start to form different muscles in the mouth. Two, because they just experiment the different textures, or they start to have better hand coordination. This morning, for example, we were eating breakfast and she was on the jumper, and I just went and stared at her, and she was just like looking at her hands, trying to like move them right in front of her face, and I can see that she was exploring her hands and just moving them, and it was pretty impressive to see her in that mindset of like, oh, like what are these and what can I do with them. So she's been doing really great with her hand coordination, with her cognitive skills. One other thing that she's been doing is when she does her tummy time, I allow her to be on the mat every morning. When she wakes up, we change and I put her on the mat, and she does tummy time, and she has really strong neck muscles right now. Actually, she had really strong neck muscles from the beginning, I would say, and she doesn't complain when I put her on her tummy. She is actually quite happy to be on her tummy, and I put her some cards or some toys, and she's very attentive and can stay there for a few minutes now, which is pretty impressive. I know not all babies love tummy time. For example, Juliette didn't love tummy time, and I really struggled with her to even keep her on the mat for 30 seconds or a minute long or 2 minutes long afterwards. She was more like she gained her neck muscles by doing other activities, not just from holding her on the chest and her looking up at you. That's another form to increase their neck muscle and their neck strength. But she has been doing really great with tummy time and enjoys it and is having fun. And so you can take advantage of that, and while they're doing that tummy time, give them something to look at. We do some black and white cards. She has fun with them. She stares at them, but I also put objects. And also when she's doing tummy time, I get down there with her and I try to make that eye contact, and I try to talk to her, just spend that time with her. She's sleeping pretty well. She's getting into a routine, sort of, but I wouldn't recommend having a really strict sleep routine at this point. They're very, very small. They're very young. And I feel like it's more beneficial to them if they lead you and you kind of just go with that. I feel like that's my personal choice, to let her lead me. And for example, she's being breastfed, and I more so know when she's hungry. She also gives me cues that she's hungry from a very young age. They give you cues when they're hungry. And you just want to follow that. Of course, if they're not eating a lot because they're just dead asleep, then you want to encourage them to eat, because of course you don't want to let them go too far without eating. But at this point, for example, at 9 o'clock, she's starting to knock out completely and not waking up till 1:30, and I just basically let her sleep. I did let her, she started this really early on, and I would say she was only about 3 weeks old, and she was already starting to sleep like 4 hours in a row at night. And because she had really great weight gain, I let her do that. I wasn't gonna wake her up. I just let her sleep and have her rest, and then when she woke up, I woke up and breastfed her. And the daytime, it was more frequent feeds though. It was like every 2 hours, every 3 hours, I would try to give her both of my breasts so that she would feel more full and she would sleep a little bit longer. But if not, if she would just do one and fall asleep, then I would just let her and able to go at their pace. I think it's really important versus having a strict schedule and trying to have all these restrictions with them. I don't think it's very beneficial for them. One other thing to go back about restrictions and is when they're born. I know a lot of us want to put the mittens on our babies because we don't want them to scratch their face, but actually I would say that it's more beneficial to let them explore, not put those mittens. And I know they just came out of the womb and they want to be able to feel you, want to be able to just move their hands and feel other things. So it's more beneficial to them if you don't put those mittens and they start exploring since day one with their hands versus putting those mittens, because they scratch themselves. Like I said, not deep scratches. They're not really in pain. They're not really hurting. And if you pay attention, the scratches actually disappear within hours. I would say in 4 hours, at most 24 hours, that scratch is gone, just because they scratch just the surface of their skin. Their nails are very, very thin. And so it's better to let them explore with their hands. I even encourage them to touch different things like your finger, or just give them that freedom of their hands, so they're able to have those hand sensations and those hand skills very early on. But yeah, so she's been going back to the sleep. She's been sleeping well. I just follow her lead, and I think by maybe when she's 4, closer to 6 months old, then we'll start setting a more strict schedule for our oldest. I know that we were putting her to bed around 8 o'clock, around 4 to 5 months now. We would kind of help her go to sleep, and she was actually sleeping really well at night. And so we want to do the same with her. We kind of just want to wait until she's around 4 months and not sleep train her in the form of let her crying it out. I'm not a big fan of that. I feel terrible for her, and I felt terrible for Juliette. We never did it. I always just stay with her until she fell asleep, and she would sleep really well. She would wake up. She had her moments. She had her regression times where she would wake up and we were there, and I had to breastfeed her a little more often when she was going through those tough times. But in the long run, I felt that she felt more safe and more comfortable, and we actually had her in our bedroom until she was 1 year, 2 months. But she did have her own bed in our bedroom at 9 months. And before that, we were co-sleeping. And when she was really, really small like this, we actually had a bassinet. And I'll show you the bassinet right now. I love having this bassinet right next to me, because that way I know that she's safe, that I'm not gonna roll over on her or harm her, but that she's really close, that I can just put my hand to check on her, or when she wakes up and wants to be breastfed, then I just pick her up really quickly. I'm able to do that and sit there on my headrest and then just put her back and go back to sleep. It's really nice to have that bassinet that we currently do. And so she'll probably be in her bassinet until 4 months. I don't know if with her we're gonna co-sleep as much as we did with Juliette. Maybe because there'll be the two of them in the bedroom. I feel a little bit more comfortable putting her now in her little bed in a crib or some form of bedding here in the room with Juliette, just because there'll be the two of them. With Juliette, actually, it's funny. I didn't want her to be in her room by herself, just because I felt it was so unfair for her to sleep by herself while me and my husband got to sleep together. And so I felt terrible, and I would just be like, no, why does she have to sleep alone, and what if something happens to her? And I just preferred to do the co-sleeping, and it worked out really great for us. And plus I was working, and I do work, and I felt like that was another bonding time with me and her. And so I prefer the co-sleeping. It did get a little tiring at times because, you know, she was taking some space when she was like 8 months and 9 months old. So then that's when we decided to bring a bed into our bedroom so that she would have her own space but still be within her own room. But for her, we haven't decided if we're gonna have her co-sleep with us, or if we're gonna bring her over here with Juliette. But I feel like I would be more comfortable to bring her over here with Juliette, just so they would be together, and also for Juliette to have that bonding time with her sister and just see her sleep with her, and kind of avoid the jealousy and you know, her feeling like she's being left out with us all sleeping over there in our bedroom. Currently she's doing good. She's doing pretty good with the new baby, and I think I'll make another video on that, how Juliette's been welcoming Penelope, how she's been doing with having a sister. She had just turned 2 years when Penelope joined us, so it was a little bit hard. It was a little bit hard for Juliette, but overall she's been doing great. She's very sweet to Penelope. She kisses her and she wants to help me with everything, but I do get scared because sometimes she doesn't know, you know, how strong she is and how delicate Penelope is. And so we'll see how it goes. If Juliette is able to understand and not hurt Penelope and be able to sleep together with her, then I think we'll bring her in here, have the two of them. And if not, we'll keep Penelope a little bit longer in our bedroom. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted. But for now, she's doing great in her bassinet. She's sleeping pretty well. She's sleeping, like I said, 4 to 5 hours stretches, and that's really great for me, so I don't feel as tired when I wake up. Have the energy to be with them both and just do all the other households. Which, one of the things that I wanted to mention is, especially if you're a first-time mom, I know you have expectations and you see so many things on social media, on Instagram, on YouTube, about moms who have their routine and they wake up before the baby and they get up really early, and afterwards when the baby is ready, they can do laundry, you can go for a walk and exercise, can clean the house and have the baby and put down the baby. And I was when I had Juliette, I watched all those videos of how to raise my baby, and I felt really disappointed when Juliette just was like cluster feeding and just wanted to be on me, and I was like, I can't do anything, I'm failing. But at the end of the day, I had to let go of all of that and be like, every baby is different and every baby has different needs. It just so turns out that one person is able to put her baby down or train her baby to put them down, and their priority, or maybe not their priority, but they're able to do other things around the house. But for me, my priority was my baby, and I would rather have a messy, living room, then put her down and not have that bonding time with her. So I'm more of the mom of cuddling with my baby and holding my baby and sharing those moments with her, bonding with them in that way, because it's really only 2-3 months. At 4 months, she's gonna start sitting down, from my experience with Juliette, and they're not gonna be. People say don't hold your baby because you're gonna spoil them, and that's not true. As soon as they start to sit, as soon as they start to crawl, they don't want to be held, they don't want to be picked up, they don't want to be in your arms, they want to be out about and exploring. At least that was our experience with Juliette. We always gave her the tools and the environment to explore, and so she didn't want to be carried at 4 months. And it's really only a small window of time where you can hold your baby and cuddle your baby and spoil your baby. And so for me, the second time around, I'm very intentional with that, and I'm all about spoiling Penelope and holding her, especially because she is the younger sibling, and she does already have to share her time with her older sister. And of course, I dedicate as much time as I can with Juliette, have that one-on-one with her too. But when I'm with her, I do try to spoil her as much as I can, just like I did with Juliette, just how it ended up being with Juliette. It just ended up being that way. And at the beginning, I would beat myself up for that. But then I was like, why? Why? Every baby is different. I don't want to compare myself. And actually, my husband was like, don't compare yourself to somebody that's making a video. This is one person, and there's many different kinds of babies and many different kinds of mom. So I would say if you're a mom that feels like you're not doing enough, just know that you and your baby are good and healthy and happy, and she's even more happy that you're holding her and spending the time with her and you're not spoiling her. It's really a small time that you're going to be able to do this. And I know it gets overwhelming with not having the perfect home, but you will find some times here and there where they will eventually, like for example, Penelope, I can put her down for a couple hours to sleep in the morning, and I get to take a shower, I get to do a few things, and I take advantage of that time. I'm starting to work out, I'm starting to do a Peloton or do some strength training at that time. I know she wakes up and I go down and I try to keep her happy for a little bit longer so I can do those things. But most of the time I try to dedicate my time to just her, and her being my priority, and her sister and both of them being our priority. And I tackle everything with my husband. Fortunately, him and I make a great team, and if he's taking care of Juliette primarily, then I'm taking care of Penelope primarily. And then sometimes I will have both of them, and it'll just be fun for Juliette to help me with Penelope and try to include her to do things with us and do things for her so that she starts to bond with her too. But if not, then we try to do one kid at a time, which really helps. So when I want to have that one-on-one time with Juliette, my husband takes Penelope and carries her and makes sure that she's asleep, or if she's put down, tries to look over her that she's comfortable and everything. So we do tag team a lot. We are really good with balancing the two girls, just between the two of us. And I will be going back to work, and my mom will be taking care of both of them. So I still have to find a routine where both of them will be okay. For my mom, I think it's going to be really hard, but I hope to be working from home a lot more. I was already working from home a little bit with Juliette. I had one day to work at home, and that was just very nice to spend that time with her. And this time around, I hope to be working from home a little bit more so that I'm able to be with them more and also help my mom, because it's a handful to have two. So for 2 months, she's doing really great, like I said, in terms of her eye coordination, her hand coordination, her communication skills, her sleeping, her eating. She's eating really well. Again, I let her lead me and feed her when she is hungry. At this time and point, they do start to develop more so a routine on their own, and so that's what I follow, what I go with, and then of course her cues. So she's eating well, she's sleeping well, and I can tell that she's eating well because she's pooing pretty regularly or consistently. I can see that she's pooing quite a lot, so I know that she's eating really well. To meet those milestones with a little bit of help, like I said, have that one-on-one time with them, play with them with objects, with toys, you know, that get their interests, that are age appropriate. So that's a good way to encourage them to meet their milestones, by playing with them one-on-one, talking to them, making that eye contact, having those age appropriate toys that help them, you know, like helping them follow the toy, feel different kinds of toys and textures, and putting them on the mat so they do have that independent freedom of movement time, where they can bat at an object, where they can reach for things. I don't do a lot of toys with noises. I guess I can touch base on that here. I don't do a lot of toys that have a lot of noises and a lot of lights. If you see what is that brand, the Fisher Price brand, am I saying it right? They tend to have a lot of toys that are very loud and very flashy. And I'll have another video on toys, because I feel like there's so much to talk about with toys and the benefits of having the right toys for your babies. And so we don't do a lot of those toys. I try to keep her with more wooden toys or soft toys, any texture toys, really, or stuffed animals, anything that will get her attention, but not for her to just like blankly stare at it and see the flashing light, and not encourage her to do more. That's my point. So if they are at the 2-month mark and you're a little bit tempted to show them toys that are just flashing lights and making sounds, I would say to stay away from those for now. They gain a lot more with other toys. So that's another tip that I can give you. Try to expose them to different kinds of toys and not just the flashy and the ones that make a lot of sounds, in my opinion. But yeah, so this is baby Penelope. I hope you guys can see her as she grows, and I can share more tips as she's growing, as she's getting bigger. The 3-month mark, I'll try to make another video and see what changes she's made so far. And I think at 4 months it starts to get really exciting. I feel like every month you get a new baby, even so. Every week you get a new baby. They learn so much and they change so much day to day, that it's really fun. It's really, really fun. But yes, if you guys have any questions, any comments, feel free to leave them below. I'd be more than happy to give you some feedback, or if you have some questions for me, let me know. Also give a thumbs up. Also, if you enjoyed this video, we hope to see you next time. Oh, she's waking up. Just in time to say bye. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching.